everybody. Can I talk now, please? I just wanted to jump online and do one Halloween song for, just because you know, those of you that have been to my classes and workshops, you know that I love Halloween songs. And I'm going to move this lady out of the way because I'm sure she might have more to say. Many of you love the little old lady who wasn't afraid of anything. And I do have this up on YouTube. If you go into the Halloween playlist, you can find this.
Want some candy?
I do, as a matter of fact, I do. But what I wanted to sing was a song, Inside a House That Is Haunted. Just this one song for Halloween, and then I'm just going to wish you a happy day. So here we go. This is one of those songs where every page they add something else, and you have to have a good memory. You have to just keep remembering everything that is in the book. Excuse me. I'm going to start out with knocking on the door like this. I'm trying to, when I flip the screen, I always get a little bit confused here with where I should be. So here's the hand that knocks on the door, and you go, click your tongue. And I'm going to sing this live because we don't always have to have pre-recorded music. Here is the hand that knocks on the door inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is the hand that knocks on the door that startled the spider that dropped to the floor. She's scared. Here is the hand that knocks on the door that startled the spider who plopped to the floor. That frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is the hand that knocked on the door and startled the spider that plopped to the floor and frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Surprising the cat who jumped and said, "Meow!" Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is the hand that knocked on the door and startled the spider that dropped to the floor. That frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Surprising the cat that jumped and said, "Meow!" That shook the bats that swooped through the air. Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is a hand that knocks on the door that startled the spider who dropped to the floor. Ooh. That frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Surprising the cat that jumped and said, "Meow!" That shook up the bats that swooped through the air. Swoop, swoop. And jolted the owl who called, who's there? Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is a hand that knocked on the door, startled the spider that dropped to the floor, that frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Surprising the cat that jumped and screeched, "Meow!" Shook up the bats that swooped through the air, swoop, swoop, and jolted the owl that called, who's there? that spooked the mummy who ran with a shriek. Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Here is a hand that knocked on the door and startled the spider that dropped to the floor. That frightened the ghost who awoke and cried, "Boo!" Surprising the cat who jumped and said, "Meow." That shook up the bats that swooped through the air. Swoop, swoop. And jolted the owl that called, Who's there? That spooked the mummy who ran with a shriek. Rattling the skeleton who moved with a creak. Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Wonder what it is. Here's the hand that knocked on the door, that startled the spider who dropped to the floor. Surprising the cat who jumped and said, "You!" That shook up the bats that swooped through the air. And jolted the owl that called, Who's there? Rattling the mummy who spooked the mummy who ran with a shriek. Rattling the skeleton who moved with a creak. That woke up the monster who stomped with big feet, huge feet, thump, thump, and threw open the door and heard trick or treat. Inside a house that is haunted. Ooh. Look who it was at the door. Look at that. It was just a little trick-or-treater. Now, I know that times are a little different right now, and we may not be able to do our traditional trick-or-treating, but I am so proud of all the parents that have come up with creative ways to still let their children celebrate and have fun. Just whatever you do, be safe. And check out Marianne Harton, Music with Mare's YouTube channel with the Halloween songs, and have fun singing along with me. I will see you soon. Happy Halloween. Where's that